Hey, how you doing? Hey guys, it's Kelly Castell and happy Wednesday. Today I'm going to be doing a tag, and it's an old tag, something that I saw on Weekly Chris's channel. And I thought it was a good idea. It's called My First Time Tag. It's where you talk about your first time doing stuff. So I thought that was a cool idea. I think I have some pretty good stories, so yeah, let's do this. My first pet. My first pet was a pet hamster, and this was when I was still living in Mexico. For those of you who don't know, I was actually born in Mexico. So my mom had bought my brother and myself each one hamster, and I think I named her Esmeralda. Let's just go with that, Esmeralda. So Esmeralda and I, we got pretty close. Like, we had that bond relationship going until one day my school decided to have a bring your pet to school day. So I brought my pet to school and I was like, hey, look at my pet hamster. Isn't she dope? Isn't she cool? Isn't she the coolest hamster that you've ever seen? I probably didn't say that, but that doesn't matter. I remember setting her down because we were gonna go do something else. So I set her down and we went and did our stuff. And when I came back, she was gone. She was nowhere to be found. She just disappeared or got loose or someone took her or I don't know. She was not there. So that was my first pet experience. It was kind of a disaster, but it could have been worse. My first time flying. My first time flying was from Mexico to Chicago, and this was when I was still a baby, so I don't remember this, but my mom told me this story. So anyway, Robert Downey Jr. apparently was on this flight, and keep in mind that I was not a pleasant baby. I cried and screamed a lot. I'm sorry, Mom, I really am. So on this flight, as usual, I was crying and screaming, and Robert, let's just call him Rob. Rob was sitting a couple seats in front of my mom, and I was crying and screaming and crying and screaming like usual. And Rob apparently turned around, looked at my mom, and gave her the worst death stare ever. Yikes. My first time breaking a bone. My first time breaking a bone was when I was in the 8th grade, and this was when I was still doing gymnastics. So I was at practice, and I was on the trampoline, and I was doing a new trick. So my coach had this foam pad that he would set down after I jumped, did my trick, and set it down once I was about to land. So if I landed wrong, like, I wouldn't break my neck or an arm or something bad. But I was doing it, and I was doing it well, and he said, let's take the foam pad off, and I was like, no way. And he was like, okay, fine, whatever, I'll just leave it on. So I jumped, did my trick, and while I was in the air, he like faked, put it down, and took it back up, and that freaked me out. So while I was in the air, I was freaking out, and I came down, and there was no pad there, and I landed wrong, and I broke my pinky toe. Let's just say it could have been worse, once again, but it still hurt. My first kiss. My first kiss was when I was like in pre-first grade. I don't know, the way they structure their grades in Mexico is different from how they do it here in Michigan or in the United States. And it's weird. You can't really translate it properly because it's just weird. So I was sitting at a computer, and the teacher was next to me, and then the boy was next to the teacher on the other side. I turned my head to look at them, and he looked at me, and he leaned in and kissed me in front of a teacher. It was pretty weird because he was the boy that every girl was kind of afraid of because he would go around doing that stuff. So my first kiss was a grody boy. Gross. Alright guys, that is the end of this video. I hope you liked it. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Give it a thumbs up if you didn't like it. As always, leave a comment down below telling me one of your first times. It's always cool to hear from you guys, and I always really appreciate your feedback. Also, don't forget to subscribe. I also appreciate that a lot too. Alright guys, see you next week. Bye!